On the morning of February 24th, 2020, deputies responded to a 911 call at an apartment in Winter Park, Florida. The caller told them her boyfriend was unresponsive.
Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in a case and we were playing, and like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase, so I don't know what happened.
When they arrived, they found Jorge Torres Jr. on the floor near the front door, next to a blue suitcase. He was 42 years old, he weighed 103 pounds, and according to the woman who called 911, the woman who was now standing in the apartment watching officers attempt CPR, this was all just a terrible accident. A game of hide and seek that went wrong. Then investigators found the videos on her phone.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah. Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Sarah, I can't breathe it.
That's on you. That's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah. I can't breathe, Sarah.
Yeah.
And what those videos showed was not an accident.
This is actually an edited version.
This is the case of Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres Jr. And what makes it unlike almost anything else in true crime is that the killer documented it herself. Before we get into the evidence, I want you to know who Jorge Torres Jr. actually was. He was 42 years old, a father of 2 daughters, 5'3", 103 pounds. His daughter Destiny described him as her best friend. His family said he was the kind of person who made everyone around him feel seen. He liked to make people laugh. He trusted the woman he lived with. Remember that. Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres had been together since 2016. Their neighbors told investigators the arguing through the walls was almost daily. Police had been called to the apartment multiple times over the years. In 2018, both of them were arrested on the same night for battery against each other.
Okay. That's something. Yeah, but do you hear for anything? No, we don't. We have our information already.
Boone's charges were dropped. Torres moved forward. This history became the backbone of Boone's defense. Her attorney would stand in front of that jury and argue that what happened on February 23rd was not murder.
I forgive George for beating me, senseless, for trying to sleep because I had to go to work or my son's field trip the next day, for ruining my deceased family's heirlooms, traditions, and keepsakes, my son's furniture, destroying the television we watched together, for wrecking our townhome by breaking windows, punching holes in the walls and doors, ramming his entire body into glass doors, kicking in my front and back door over and over and over, for breaking or removing the locks from all of the doors and sometimes the knobs altogether, so I had nowhere to feel safe, including the sacred space of my son's room where he beat me bloody on his bed.
That it was the first time she had truly fought back. The prosecution had something that made that argument very difficult to sustain. Video, recorded by Sarah Boone herself, on her own phone. On the evening of Sunday, February 23rd, 2020, Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres spent the day together at their apartment. According to Boone, they had been drinking wine. The mood, she would later testify, had started light. They were having a good time, laughing, joking. At some point in the evening, according to Boone, the two of them began playing hide and seek. There was a blue suitcase in the living room. The couple had put it there about a week earlier, intending to donate it to Goodwill. Jorge, Boone would later say, decided it would be funny to climb inside. He was 5 feet 3 inches tall. He weighed 103 pounds. He fit. And according to Sarah Boone, once Jorge was inside, she zipped the suitcase shut. They thought it was funny. She went upstairs to bed. She forgot he was in there. She woke up the next morning, came downstairs, found him unresponsive, called 911.
Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in a case and we were playing, and like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It's like he has like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know if like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Listen, we're getting help out there too. Okay. Is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay. So he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay. How old is the boyfriend, ma'am? 42-year-old male. All right. Listen to me. Okay. That you need to confirm this one. All right. I understand. I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No. He's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
Deputies arrived within minutes.
What's going on?
So
I just got here, so fill me in.
no problem. Like, he and I put a puzzle together. We've been doing some artwork together.
You are putting a puzzle together?
Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there.
Okay.
We've been doing art, trying to take the stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night.
Okay.
So then it's like, we decided to play hide and seek, right?
Okay.
So he gets in the suitcase, okay?
Who is this guy?
That's my ex-husband, my former husband.
How did he live here with you guys?
No, I called him over here.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So then he came over here.
Here, let's talk in private, okay?
I called you guys. I tried giving you CPR. The problem is I fell asleep. I fell asleep
When did you do CPR?
this morning when I found it.
Before you called?
Yes!
It's 1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. And that's when I found him, and I took him out. I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys.
Jorge Torres Jr. was pronounced dead. On the scene, Sarah Boone cooperated. She answered questions. She told investigators the hide-and-seek story. And then, in what would later prove to be one of the most significant decisions in the entire case, she voluntarily handed over her phone. On the morning of February 24th, 2020, detectives began reviewing the contents of Sarah Boone's phone. What they found changed the entire direction of the investigation. There were 2 videos, both recorded by Sarah Boone, both recorded on the night of February 23rd, while Jorge Torres was inside the suitcase.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
you.
Sarah.
you.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real ransom. Might want to get video for it extra. Real ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah. I can breathe, Sarah.
Yeah.
There is a second video. At some point after the second video was recorded, according to Sarah Boone's own testimony, she went upstairs. She went to bed. She left Jorge Torres inside the suitcase.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it or we take it for what it is.
Yeah. We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
When investigators showed Boone the first video the following day during her interrogation, she stopped watching before it was halfway through. She told detectives it looked bad. She said she did not remember recording the videos. The medical examiner would later explain exactly what was happening inside that suitcase as the videos were being recorded.
In this case, what information were you provided?
So the information I had was that the decedent was with his girlfriend, and at some point in time in the night, he got into a suitcase, which was then zippered shut. At another point at time, I believe she went to bed, and then the next morning discovered that he was still in the suitcase. And I think that was in about an 11-hour time frame from the information that I had.
You mentioned asphyxia. Can you explain for us what asphyxia is?
Sure. So asphyxia is a very general term. It would be kind of like saying, I drive a car, right? That's very generic. And we know that there are many different types of cars out there, right? So asphyxia simply means lack of oxygen or inadequate oxygen for an individual.
Dr. Sarah Zeidowit, the forensic pathologist who performed the autopsy for Orange County, testified that with each breath Jorge took inside the enclosed space, he was exhaling carbon dioxide into a sealed environment with a limited oxygen supply. In her words, every time he exhaled, he was pushing out carbon dioxide, so whatever oxygen was there was most likely diminished because it was in an enclosed space. The official cause of death was positional asphyxia. In the simplest terms, Jorge Torres suffocated to death, slowly, inside a zipped suitcase, while the woman who put him there recorded it, and then went to sleep. The autopsy also found something else. Something that directly contradicted Boone's story that the night had been friendly and lighthearted before a game went wrong. Torres had a cut on his lip, bruising around his eye, long nail scratches across his mid-upper back and the back of his neck, contusions on his left shoulder, blunt force trauma to his skull and forehead. There had been a struggle. Before the suitcase. The injuries told a story no hide-and-seek game could explain, but investigators were about to discover that the autopsy injuries weren't even the most damning part of the evidence. That was still waiting for them in the interrogation room.
This morning we went to his autopsy, and we were informed of some injuries that he has by the doctor. So so he's got scratch marks to his back.
I know what that's from.
Okay. And it's called a contusion. Do you know what a contusion is? So like basically you're getting hit and then you get a mark from it. You'll get bruising. Like someone hit you or something like that. It's called a contusion. So he had some injuries to his left shoulder. He had a cut near his lip. We could see his mouth was a little.
I haven't laid a hand on him.
Okay.
Also too, he fell off my son's bike.
Okay.
So I don't know, and he's notorious for running into the wall or the hall tree. So
Okay. What about the scratches? Because there's also sex?
Yes.
Okay.
The cell phone videos were devastating, but they weren't the only thing investigators found on Sarah Boone's phone. There were also text messages.
7:49, asking Jorge or George not to be despicable to me, making more drink after he guzzled his and I shared mine. On page 2, date March 8th, 2018. You are now in a relationship with Jorge or George on Facebook.
In 2019, a full year before Jorge Torres died, Sarah Boone had sent a text message about him. The subject line of the thread, as presented at trial, read, "The prosecution also presented a text message in which Boone had written to someone about Jorge. Taken alone, text messages can be dismissed as venting, the words of someone frustrated in a troubled relationship. But placed alongside 2 videos of a man suffocating in a suitcase while the woman who put him there films and laughs, they take on an entirely different weight." Prosecutor William J. told the jury at the start of trial, "You will not hear tears. You will not hear sorrow from the defendant." He was right. The videos made sure of that. The day after Jorge Torres died, Sarah Boone drove herself to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. She had not been asked to come in. She came voluntarily. She was read her Miranda rights. She waived them. She sat down across from detectives and agreed to answer their questions. She does not look like a woman who just woke up to find her boyfriend dead. For the first stretch of the interrogation, Boone told the same story she had given at the apartment. Hide and seek. Wine. She forgot he was in the bag. She went upstairs. She woke up. He called 911.
We had a good time sitting on the back porch, having wine and smoking a couple of cigarettes, and then decided to go inside and literally paint, do puzzles, and play, and listen to music. That's why.
Detectives listened. Then they started asking harder questions. They pressed her further. If Jorge was fine, why didn't she check on him? If it was a game, why didn't it end when the game was over? She didn't hear anything. She was upstairs. Then detectives told her they had found something on her phone.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end it sounds kind of like a...
No, it's not malicious.
Well, saying
It's not malicious.
She said she didn't remember recording the videos. She said the video looked bad. In the same interrogation, her story shifted again. She said she had consumed a significant amount of alcohol that night, that she had blacked out, that she had no memory of filming. The detectives had one final question.
I have one last question. You realize you're the person that killed him, right?
I thought about that.
Okay, you left him in a bag when he's begging you, saying, I can't breathe, let me out, and you said, F you. And you got up off the couch and went upstairs and left him in that bag.
Not intentionally.
Again,
I would never do that to George.
you did.
Not intentionally. Know that.
I don't.
Sarah Boone was arrested the following day, February 25th, 2020, charged with second-degree murder, held without bail. What happened between Sarah Boone's arrest in February 2020 and her trial in October 2024 is one of the strangest legal sagas in recent Florida courtroom history. She went through 13 attorneys. 13. Some withdrew citing irreconcilable differences. Others left because she was sending handwritten letters to the judge complaining about their performance. One withdrew because she had gone to the media without telling him. Multiple court-appointed lawyers were relieved because Boone had such a difficult time working with any of them that Judge Michael Kranick eventually ruled she had forfeited her right to court-appointed counsel. At one point, while representing herself in a July 2024 hearing, Sarah Boone filed a 58-page handwritten letter to the judge, and separately, she created a hand-drawn advertisement for a lawyer.
One thing I want to caution you about, if this becomes a problem on another court-appointed attorney, I'm going to look more closely at what the alleged disputes are. You have a right to a court-appointed lawyer.
It worked. Attorney James Owens saw the ad in news coverage and volunteered to represent her. Before the trial began, prosecutors offered Boone a plea deal: plead guilty to manslaughter, serve 15 years, with the possibility of parole after 4 more. She rejected it. She was going to go to trial, and she was going to testify in her own defense. The trial was delayed multiple times, once by the COVID-19 pandemic, once by Hurricane Milton. It finally began on October 14th, 2024. After 4 years, 6 months, and 2 days, Sarah Boone was going to have to explain those videos to a jury.
Can you demonstrate for the jury where Mr. Torres' head was and how his body was positioned in the suitcase, if you don't mind?
His back was this way and his head was here.
All right, and then is it fair to say his feet are kind of down here, which would be the front left corner from their perspective in the jury box?
Yes.
And then his knees are kind of tucked up towards his face.
If I remember correctly, yes, that's the position.
Okay. All right.
The prosecution's case was built on 4 pillars: the cell phone videos, the text messages, the forensic autopsy findings, and the interrogation footage. Prosecutor William J. walked the jury through the evidence piece by piece. He read from the transcript of the suitcase videos in his opening statement. He argued that Boone had zipped Torres in with a malicious intent to punish him, and then left him to take his final panicked breaths inside a box.
She is the initial aggressor. He is saying, I can't breathe. It is no different than a naked chokehold that she does not let go of. And she told you it's because I want him to listen to me. This is my bully pulpit. This is how he made me feel in the past. She doesn't describe it as teaching him a lesson, but that's exactly what she says. I want him to feel like I felt in the past. I want to tell him things. Ladies and gentlemen, we can play semantical games, but that is teaching him a lesson.
The defense told a different story. James Owens argued that Sarah Boone was not a murderer. She was a victim of years of documented abuse at the hands of Jorge Torres, a woman who had been choked, beaten, and terrorized in the privacy of their own apartment. A woman who, on the night of February 23rd, finally snapped.
Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres were down and out, as you can be. Their life centered around alcohol, and that Jorge Torres physically abused Sarah Boone. And she suffered from the effects, the psychological effects that one suffers from repeat violence from an intimate partner. They were together over 3 years, and there were several prior incidences of violence. We've got the photographs. There were incidences where police were called who took photographs. So you're going to be able to see the evidence. And we believe the court will instruct you at the end when you're considering self-defense, which we call justifiable use of non-deadly force or justifiable use of deadly force, that you can consider the prior acts, the history of violence, the prior difficulties that the parties had. And considering her set of circumstances that she was faced with in making the decision to use reasonable force under the circumstances.
In support of that defense, the jury saw body cam footage of previous domestic incidents at the apartment. They heard from Torres's neighbor, who said he heard arguing almost daily through the walls. They heard from an expert witness on battered spouse syndrome. The jury also saw a video from Boone's phone, in which Torres could be seen beating a television set with a baseball bat. This was part of the defense's argument that Torres was volatile and dangerous, that Boone had lived in genuine fear. Then, on day 3 of the trial, Sarah Boone took the stand.
It was the things that he was saying very much frightened me, and cursing at me and threatening me. And it just got very heated very quickly, and he continued to push on the suitcase. And my fear was that he was going to break out of the suitcase, knowing that it was a broken suitcase.
Were you in fear?
Always.
If he would have gotten out of the suitcase, what would he have done to you?
Like he used to tell me, he probably would have made me unrecognizable, or I would have lost my life.
She testified for hours. She described the history of the relationship in detail. She talked about the abuse she said she had suffered. She described the night of February 23rd, the drinking, the hide and seek, the suitcase. She testified that she was not laughing at Jorge when she filmed those videos. She said she was laughing because she was scared of him, that zipping him in the suitcase was the first time she had officially fought back.
It's not over there? Where'd you leave?
You asked me where I zipped it.
When you say that it was zipped shut, show us.
Are you talking about how I zipped it, or?
When you're done zipping it shut and he's inside of it, where are the zipper components?
She demonstrated to the jury, physically, how she had zipped the bag. Then came the first thing the jury heard that was not in the original investigation reports. Boone admitted, on the stand, that she had struck the suitcase with a baseball bat while Jorge was still inside it. This was not in her interrogation story. This was not in her original account to police. This came out in her own testimony, in her own words, in front of the jury that was about to decide her fate. And then the prosecutor asked her the question the entire trial had been building toward. Why did you record those videos?
That's when I went over and decided to videotape to just see the, I guess the gist in it for him to understand that right now I feel safe and right now I have the ability to actually speak to you in a manner that normally I would not have the ability to do.
She filmed him to make him understand how she felt. And then the prosecutor asked one final question. When Jorge said he couldn't breathe, did you do anything to help him get out? Her answer, I wanted him to try to understand how I felt, so maybe he could progress and be a better person. When the prosecutor pressed further and asked if she had done anything at all to let Torres out of the suitcase, Boone answered, no.
State, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Judge.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in our jury. Everyone will remain seated. Madam Clerk, if you could please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 9th Judicial Circuit in Orange County, Florida, case number 2020 CF 2603, the State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. The verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information. So say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 25th day of October 2024. The form has been signed by the foreperson.
Ms. Boone, the jury has spoken in this matter and has found you guilty of murder in the second degree. The court adjudicates you guilty of murder in the second degree.
On October 25th, 2024, closing arguments were delivered. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Sarah Boone was found guilty of second-degree murder. According to reports, Boone was shocked by the verdict. On December 2nd, 2024, before the sentencing hearing, her motion for a new trial was denied. Judge Michael Kranick sentenced Sarah Boone to life in prison in the Florida Department of Corrections. At sentencing, Boone addressed the court.
Almost everything reminds me of him, seeing my stab wound especially every day especially. It truly reminds me that all I really did live through. George haunts me. He is everywhere. I believe because I do still love him, think of him, and miss his laugh the most. In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please wholeheartedly know that, and always, I would never. Forgive me, George. Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Kranick. To the entire planet, please forgive me.
She said, I hope that everyone can forgive me. The Torres family most of all. Jorge Torres' sister, Anna Victoria, had a different message. She called Boone very evil, very calculated, very devious, very conniving.
My name is Victoria Torres. George is my brother. Unfortunately, my family has experienced 2 horrifying tragedies. Make it clear that George deserves justice. As far as my other brother and Sarah deserve to rot in jail.
His daughter told Court TV, "Nobody's perfect, but my dad was very loving. Everybody loved him back. He didn't deserve what happened to him."
Jorge Torres, my incredible father. Not only was he my father, but my best friend. My personal comic provided me with wisdom and knowledge, creative and loving dad, an older brother, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, a son, and above all, our father. He was human and deserved to be treated as such. My father, Jorge Torres, was one of a kind, an absolute gem. Unfortunately, his light was dimmed on earth by evilness.
There are 4 questions that this case raises, and they don't have easy answers, even with a verdict on the books. The first one, did Sarah Boone believe Jorge could escape from the suitcase on his own? Her own testimony changed on this. Initially, she claimed she thought he could simply unzip the bag from the inside, but the physical evidence suggested the zip was not accessible from within. The autopsy injuries, the nail scratches, the blunt force trauma, suggest someone fighting to get out of a confined space with no way to do so. The prosecution argued that Boone knew this. The second question, why did she record the video? This is the one that investigators found most revealing. Recording those videos was not the act of someone who thought they were engaged in a harmless game. It was not accidental. Boone made a deliberate choice to pick up her phone and document what was happening. The prosecution argued those videos were trophies, documentation of punishment, evidence of intent. The third question, why did she keep filming instead of helping? Boone's answer, that she wanted him to understand how she felt when he had choked her, was the statement the prosecution returned to repeatedly. Because it contains within it an admission, she understood exactly what was happening to him in that suitcase. She understood the sensation of being unable to breathe, and she chose to prolong it rather than stop it. The fourth question, how did investigators realize this wasn't an accident? The short answer is the phone. If Boone had never handed over her phone, this case might have been treated very differently. There was no witness. There was no obvious sign of forced entry or a struggle from the outside. The 911 call painted a picture of a panicking girlfriend, but Boone handed over her phone voluntarily, and on that phone were 2 videos that destroyed every version of her story. The forensic pathologist also helped answer this question. The injuries found on Torres's body, the scratches, the bruising, the blunt force trauma to the skull, were inconsistent with a relaxed game of hide and seek. They suggested something far more violent had occurred, either before or during the time Torres was in the suitcase. The combination of those injuries, the video evidence, and Boone's own taunt on camera, that's what you get when you cheat on me, told investigators everything they needed to know. This was not an accident. It was a decision. I want to come back to Jorge Torres Jr. for a moment, because in a case like this, where the evidence is so disturbing, the courtroom drama so consuming, it's easy to lose the actual person at the center of it all. Jorge was 42 years old, a father of 2 daughters, someone who made people laugh, someone who filled the room when he walked in. His daughter Destiny called him her best friend. His family said everybody loved him back. He trusted the woman he shared an apartment with, and on the night of February 23, 2020, he climbed into a blue suitcase because she made it seem like something they could both laugh about. He asked to be let out. He said he couldn't breathe. She filmed it. She beat the suitcase with a bat. She laughed. She told him it was what he deserved, and then she went upstairs and went to sleep. At her sentencing, Sarah Boone told the court, "I hope that everyone can forgive me, the Torres family most of all." Jorge's sister, Anna Victoria, had a different message. She said Boone was very evil, very calculated, very devious, very conniving. His daughter Destiny said, "My dad was an amazing person. He was my best friend. Nobody's perfect, but my dad was very loving. Everybody loved him back. He didn't deserve what happened to him." Sarah Boone is serving a life sentence in Florida. She is on her 13th attorney. She is still fighting this. Jorge Torres Jr. is not coming back.
The jury has spoken in this matter and has found you guilty of murder in the second degree. The court adjudicates you guilty of murder in the second degree.
If this case affected you, drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're new here, Welcome. This is what we do. Real people, real evidence, real consequences. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously.